Alright, here's what I got today. Went to a little model show, and my son and I, Nico, we decided to get some quads. And when they said this thing had video on it, I jumped on it. It was $59.99. I didn't have to pay any tax on it because I got it at the model show. So I looked at it and said, oh, I'll give it a shot. So this is my first quad. So let's see what we get inside the box. And I will warn you, I've already opened up the box. I put everything away the way it should be. But inside the box, you'll get your set of instructions, quick start guide, how to charge LiPos, and all that stuff. Then inside you have your quad. You got the quad, you get your controller, you get a micro SD card reader for USB port, you get a set of batteries, and you get a USB charging cable and a 2 gigabyte generic SD card. I would just probably throw that card away and just invest in a new card. I wouldn't trust it. Even though it is a quad, you know, a cheap budget quad, I still wouldn't trust the 2 gig card that comes with it. What I ended up doing was I went to the local computer store, and I ended up picking up a Toshiba 8 gig class 10 card to put in it. It's way overkill for this thing, but it's a brand name. It's a class 10, and it's 8 gigs, so I can definitely store some video on here without having to delete right away. So, all right, I've already gone through two blades, or 2 props. I went through I already broke a white and a black. You do get 4 rotor blades in this. You get 2 blacks and 2 whites for replacements, and that's about all you get for the replacements. The blade guards do not come assembled on the quad. They come underneath the plastic tray with the rotor blades. So I went ahead and installed them after I broke my first set, just to be safe. I didn't feel like breaking in another set. Your controller, so far, I don't have a whole lot good to say about it. It's a controller, that's about it. It's not really ergonomic. I'm used to flying with bigger radios, and with this one, it still feels kind of weird. So maybe after 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 packs of flying, I'll probably get used to it. But for right now, I'm still a little touchy on these sticks. There's 3 flight modes. You have the complete beginner, which is super dead in the center. It's not really responsive. Then you have a middle setting, which is a little bit more responsive, and then you have a third setting, which is really twitchy. Supposedly, this quad will do flips and rolls. It does have a video camera on it. It's not, and that's all it is. It's just a video camera. There's no audio at all. There's the video camera. It's not 720p or 1080p or anything like that. It's probably more like around the 420p area. So if you're just getting into videoing while flying, this could be a good start. The cable itself comes labeled, nothing fancy. It's just your typical USB charger for the battery. And of course, the battery itself has a proprietary plug, so you just can't slap any LiPo into this and call it good. This quad, because I don't think it's out there all that much, it is produced by Hobbico. Some of you in the industry or in the hobby will know who Hobbico is. That's who makes this quad. They do have their own website dedicated to the Andromida series, which is what this is. It's an Andromida series kodo. and there's really not a whole lot I can say about it. You know, it looks kind of buggy. I think they try to get some kind of scorpion kind of look to it. But that's that. As far as USB reader goes, it's just a standard micro SD USB reader. No need to pull it out. If you're a techie or you've been in the hobby, you've seen stuff like this already. And of course, you get 2 AAA batteries that go in the controller. I went ahead and just sprung for some energizers. I just put some energizers in there that are a little bit better. All the rotor blades are coded so that you know which motors that they go on. The arms are coded. You have 2 B sets, and you have 2 B blades and you have 2 A blades. 1A is black and 1A is white, so that you know which ones go on which motors. Here's the proprietary plug. Let you get a better look at it. Nothing fancy. This tab you see sticking out of the back down here, this little white tab, that's the tab coming off the battery. They do have replacement batteries, replacement motors. You can replace everything on this thing through their website, or through Hobbico's website for the Andromida series. So I'm going to give this thing a few more flights. I can report back as to how I feel about it. Right now I'm liking it. It's pretty stable. Had to trim it out a little bit. It did have some drift coming out of the box. Nothing too serious. Nothing that a first timer can't handle. If you take your hands off the sticks and it starts to float on you, land it. Click the trim buttons, which, let's get into that real quick. Here's the controller. You have your on-off. You have your throttle trim right here. Then you have your fore and aft trims. Then up here on the shoulders, you have your yaw trim. And then you have your aileron or roll trim right there. You can switch between mode 1 and mode 2. And then you have your video and you have your picture buttons. When you hit the button for video, it starts filming. You hit it again, it stops. You push the button once for picture, it just takes the picture. One thing that's different about this particular quad over any of the more advanced RC vehicles is that the typical power-up system is going to be turn on the radio, plug in the vehicle. On this one, it's plug the vehicle in, turn on the radio, wait for a series of beeps, move to high stick, wait for a series of beeps, then move it back down to low stick, then there'll be another series of beeps, and at that point, your motors will be armed. The hobby store that actually sold it to me explained that to me before I actually bought it, which I thought was pretty nice of them, because I would have just plugged it, or I would have turned on the radio, plugged in the vehicle, and I would have been, I would have been thinking good to go. But that's not the case with this one. Just remember, plug in the vehicle, turn on the radio, wait for the beeps, move it up, wait for the beeps, move it down, wait for the beeps, and then the motors will be armed. But yeah, this is the kit. There's 2 AAAs in the back. Nothing too major. It is 2.4 gigahertz, so you don't have to worry about the whole line of sight stuff with infrared or anything like that. So you do have that. And I will, at this point, I will shut down and I will get back to you with the rest of my results after I get some more flight times on this thing. All right. Oh, and if you have not done so, I would suggest getting something like this. This will make your micro hobby a lot nicer. This is a 5200 milliamp hour Scorpion power pack. It's powered on a 2S LiPo battery. I got this thing, I don't know, almost a year ago at this point. And I just love this thing. You can get them a lot cheaper, probably at Walmart or whatever. But I think something like this quad, where you got to use the USB charging cable, I think one of these would be very useful for you for keeping your batteries charged. For about 5 minutes of flight time, it takes 20 minutes to charge. I think this would be a good trade-off. You'll get enough power into the battery quick enough, and you'll minimize your downtime if you're looking at doing back-to-back flights with this thing. But other than that, I'm going to sign out and call it a night. Thank you.